Grade 10, Chapter 1, Microsoft Access, Lesson 1. The duration of this lesson will be 1 period. The objectives of this lesson is to define the word data, learn how to organize data, and show the benefits of the organization of the data. The software needed is, of course, Microsoft Access, and at the end of this lesson, students should be able to define what is data, what is a database, and how to organize information in a clear way in order to name it database, and what we can do with a database such as sorting and filtering information. So I will start this lesson considering that you did not this chapter in grade 9 with your students. I'm considering that it's the first year for you to teach them Access, and then from now we will start by trying to explain them what is data and how much is important data in our daily life, in every and each single activities we are performing. And then after we will go through the IoT definition, which is the IoT, by giving them example like 10 years from now or 15 years from now, the amount of data that we were used to manipulate and the amount of data we are manipulating now for every single user on the internet or as a person. So 15 years from now, we haven't the social medias, we haven't the WhatsApp, our mobile was not supported by a really cameras, and maybe like 20 years from now we don't have cellular phones. So the amount of data was minimal. I mean, to store them, we are not in use of big hard disks and storages and so on. And you have to give them the notion of clouds, and I think all your students know well the idea of the iCloud and the Google Store and the Drive and so on, and what are the important idea from those clouds, since we have to secure our data, because simply, and that's what you should tell them, that data is the most expensive item in the world. It's not cars, it's not phone, it's not houses, it's not I don't know. The most expensive element in the world is data, since from data we can do whatever you want. And from here you can give them the example of how social medias like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and other are monitoring our screens. I mean, if for example you try to post an article on your Facebook, and at the last minute before clicking on publish you cancel it, you should tell your student that on the server of Facebook this article which is not published is kept on their drive, and they can track you and monitor you in order to see your behavior, what you like, to start sending you advertisement. And this data is sold to companies for advertising and for product to benefit from this data. So by explaining them this kind of information and how data is important, then students will learn this concept of let's say how to manage database, and the software we should manipulate and understand in order to manipulate a database. From this introduction, And from at the end with this lesson, I will give you a link that you can visit or send it to your student on TED Talks in order to listen for like 20 to 40 minutes, I don't know, for how social medias are monitoring our profiles by capturing data and data and data. So if you want to start, you can start by testing the knowledge of your student by asking them, Access is a program developed by Microsoft. It's true. Access is a program used to type letter. It's false. So all the answers are on Dropbox by an answer key sheet. And after that, why it is a database? So you have to explain to your student that not only Microsoft Access is a software to manipulate database, but also if you go through Microsoft Excel and you build, let's say, a table like this, it's not a database, since the first row, I mean the row 2, where my database is written, all the cells from B2 till F2 are merged. So this table is not considered as a database. If we go to the other example, which is this table in Word, it is considered as a database since each column contains a specific information. Like for the first column, you have name, address, email, and telephone. So from this example, you can explain to your student that the first database is made on Excel and the second in Word, and you have to say why it's considered a database or not. So the answer is already with you. Then you pass to the second example page, where you have to define the word data. And data, it's an information to describe an object, a person, an activity. And here you can enter with a dialogue and questions with your students in order to ask them about, to give you some examples about a database. Example 1, let's say here you name the name, address, date, phone number are data describing a person, and name, model, number, color, type, and horsepower are data describing a car. So after describing or defining the word data, you can go through how to organize data, and data can be organized or stored in two ways: sequentially, in a random way, and here we cannot profit from this storage in order to make what we call the sort or the filter, and in an organized way where we can do it. And in the first case, data are stored randomly. You cannot benefit from the data in order to retrieve the storage data. And in the second case, data are stored in an organized way. And here we give an example, like we are storing information sequentially, line by line, and then here it's like by table. And we are defining that here data is stored in a sequential way, and here it's organized in an organized way. And the benefit of organizing data here, it's like to have the ability to extract, and you can give many of examples, like for example the contact list of your phone. Why, for example, you ask your student why we can by typing 3 letters, all the names starting or including those 3 letters will be displayed on your screen, simply because it's stored in a database. And I advise you to ask your students to give you places or activities where data are used, and you have to expect answers like in pharmacies, in restaurants, in school, bank, airport, at home, on your phone. So almost everywhere, every single activity, to manage it at a supermarket, pharmacy. So they need a software, and behind this software there is a database to store information in a secure way and organized way, simply not for the love of storing data, simply because they need, user needs to store data and to filter data. Sort data means to classify them in a specific order, numerical order, alphabetical order, by region, by country, by age, and so on. And the filter data is in order, if you would like, for example, at school, to display only the math grades for grade 10 section B for the first semester, for example, so you can do it, or for a specific student. So by giving examples of the importance of data and how we can consider data as a database, and the software we use to store data, and what are the benefits of storing data in a database, I think that, and by doing this question and answer Q&A with your students, I guess that students will learn and will be ready for the second lesson for this chapter.